Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing? I know it's pretty early, but I was determined to get this video in and to come on and talk to you guys. I said that I had something really important to talk about in my previous video, but I didn't want to give you guys any teasers. But this is it. It's a major issue with the Black community. It is our co- it is our colleges and our universities. So I don't know if you all are familiar with what's going on right now at Bethune Cookman College. Uh, Let me just give you a little bit of backstory. I am a product of an HBCU. I attended and graduated from an HBCU. So it has a very, 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 very close uh it bothers me, this situation that's going on at BCU. So let me just give you a little bit of the backstory. Bethune Cookman is located literally in the heart of Daytona Beach, Florida. If you all ever visit Florida, Daytona is centralized Florida. So it literally is Central Florida, right in the middle. There are other HBCUs in the state of Florida, like there's FLOMO University, there's Florida A&M, there's Edward Waters College. There's several HBCUs in the state of Florida. BCU is central. So therefore, because it is central and it's in Daytona, it's in a very peculiar area. So children are students who go there majority of the time either live in surrounding areas or their legacy. They have a family member that attended there and now they're going there to continue on the tradition. With the HBCU that I attended, I had several family members that went there and graduated from there. And I just would always be in awe, you know, hearing about them speaking about the university. And I wanted to be a part of that family. So I completely get it. So, explaining to you a little bit about Daytona, it is completely surrounded by water. I'm very familiar with the Daytona Beach area. My aunts and my grandmother on my father's side are proud alums of BCU. So we would visit there quite often when I was young. And my parents actually owned property there. They had been owning property there before I was even born. Some of the property is actually waterfront property. So to just give you a little bit of backstory of how BCU is in the predicament that they are in financially, I'm going to explain this. I'm going to give y'all a little bit of my own personal information. Um, During the hurricane season, any area in Florida that is near water is in a lot of danger. I mean, it can get really bad in Florida, extremely bad when hurricanes come in. And that's exactly what happened in Daytona. Uh, I know that with us, whew, I want to say that my mom fought with the insurance company for almost 3 years to get repairs to her condominium. It was a huge, huge, huge issue. I'm talking about a huge issue. We can talk about Hurricane Nicole, but there was even a um a storm even prior to Hurricane Nicole. There was Hurricane Charlie that came through Daytona. So I'm telling you, fighting with these insurance companies in the state of Florida after a major hurricane can take months, even years. And I'm quite sure that's exactly what happened, what's going on with BCU. Now, it's alleged, because I haven't seen it with my own eyes, I have seen a whole lot of video though. It is alleged that BCU is completely ripped to shreds. There are basically inhumane living conditions right now for the students and the underclassmen, graduate students who are attending there. There are pictures of mold. There's pictures of flooding in areas. There's pictures of just, it's bad. It's really, really bad. You can just go online and you can be able to see it. I'm not going to do that to a fellow HBCU and post those pictures, those graphic pictures online. I'm just not going to do it. However, you can go ahead and do the search for yourself. Now, that's to tell you all what they're going through as a college and what's going on with the students and how their living conditions are. So that's one major issue. That's one major issue. And people are saying, well, why can't they just fix the school? Why would they let the students in there knowing that they're under these conditions? I completely get that as well. The school should be shut down. However, think of all of those students who would be displaced, would have to try to find other universities that would be able to allow them in. I remember when Katrina happened, and at my university, it was a big thing. We were trying to take in students who had been displaced from Katrina. And as you all know, Katrina happened back in 05. I'm telling a little bit of my business. You know, I was an underclassman at the time. And I just remember how displaced those kids were and how it just was, you know, a, a, a shock for them, because here they were coming to another university. They had just gotten acclimated at one school. They're coming to a whole nother university, probably had lost several of their family members, and they're trying to get on with their lives. It's just really hard. And then you also have to remember that this whole situation with the hurricane happened in the midst of the pandemic. So it's just these insurance companies, I'm telling you, if you have a family member that passed away during the pandemic, or if you're dealing with any type of structural damage to your home, to your commercial property, etc., you're going through it. I mean, you're going through it. To this day, there's, you know, I don't even want to go there, but I have a family member who passed away roughly a little over a year ago. Family members are still trying to get the insurance policy to pay out. It's ridiculous. I am telling you, they are purposely putting people through the ringer for no reason. And it's really, really sad. I don't know if the insurance companies are just out of money. I don't know, but it's ridiculous. Okay, with that being said, let's get on what I came on here for. So, as you all know, Primetime, Mr. Primetime himself, Deion Sanders, did something miraculous over at Jackson State University. You know, he did what a lot of people thought could not be done. And a lot of HBCUs were trying to replicate that, because this man brought in so many millions of dollars in funding to that school. It is crazy. He basically reinvented college football for the HBCU. I just have to give it to the man. I'm giving you your props, Mr. Sanders. Now, there's other things I don't so much care about you on a personal level, but when it comes to business, you did what needed to be done, and I appreciate that, and I salute you, brother, for doing that for the community. Now, a lot of schools were trying to replicate that. They were trying to find, a pro athlete that had been in the game for several years, that had this extensive NFL career, that could be able to come into their college football team and reinvent the wheel. And that's exactly what Dion did. So, well, Coach Sanders, because he likes respect, and I appreciate that. Coach Sanders. So, with that being said, Bethune Cookman saw that in Ed Reed. Now, if you know who Ed Reed is, he is a pro football Hall of Famer. He is an NFL ring holder. The man is absolutely, one of the GOATs of the game. And he had several opportunities, let's be clear, to work with several different universities. I believe he had an offer from Grambling University, which is another HBCU. He even had an offer at Jackson State. We are later now finding out, which is an HBCU. And he had an offer at Miami, University of Miami, which is, a PWI. And he decided to go with BCU. Like I said, a lot of players who are retired are coming in as head coaches, to these schools, and they're doing something huge. You see what happened with Dion, with Mr. Sanders. He decided to go over to Jackson State, and now he's at a whole nother university, literally making probably 30, 40 times the amount that he was making at JSU. And I applaud him for that, because before he left, he made sure that he had the blueprint for them to follow, so that whoever got in his seat after he left could be able to continue the reign. And I love what that brother did for HBCU football. I mean, there are people that never had even been to a black college football game that were going to the games, and I just love it. I love it. All of a sudden we're shown on these primetime television networks when previously we weren't. So I appreciate what he did. Now, BCU was trying to replicate what JSU did. And so they went after Ed Reed. Ed Reed is a GOAT. And he definitely has the capabilities to turn BCU football around. Now, if you are an alum or attended an HBCU, you know that the money comes from sports and the money comes from the band. Those are the departments that bring in the most money. And then there's also donors, and then there's also alumni. So you want to make sure that those departments, get the equipment that they need to be able to be successful. From my understanding, with what a lot of the players are saying, a lot of their equipment was old. It was molded. The conditions of the locker room were horrible. The conditions of the field to practice were horrible. It was just bad. And it's hard for a coach to come in that is accustomed to a certain caliber and a certain quality when it comes to the game and to the mere basics, and he's not able to get that for his team. So it's like, what is he going to be able to work with? So I'm just going to read an article to you all. It's coming from 93.1. And what the article is saying is this. The fallout from administrators at Bethune Cookman University choosing not to ratify the contract of the college and Pro Football Hall of Famer Ed Reed for head coaching position of his football program has resulted in petitions and, in the case of a group of students, and on-campus protests. Now, if you all know, there has been a huge uproar about removing him from his position. I believe he was only head coach maybe 25 days. It wasn't even an entire month. From my understanding, according to what Mr. Reed is saying, he wants to still be the head coach over at BCU, but the board of trustees as well as the president could not come to an agreement with his contract. So instead of them not being able to come to an agreement, they just released him of his services. So let me continue on with the article. Students gathered on campus grounds on Monday, January 23rd, my birthday, to demand the removal of the board of trustees over the inadequacy of several buildings on campus containing mold and the failed hire of Coach Reed. According to Fox 35, students complained of rats in some dormitories and no hot water. That's what I was going to say. It's really bad over there. They have a rodent issue. They have a water issue. They have a lot of compliance issues with just the board of health. Like, honestly, some of the pictures that I saw, it makes you wonder why some of the buildings weren't condemned. But let's continue on with the article. Students have resorted to leaving windows up year-round in some spaces because there's no working air conditioner. That is what is being said as well over there, because if you go online, there's so many students that are protesting and showing people what their living conditions are. Now, this is my thing. Why is it that BCU has a huge alumni the list? I mean, their alum goes for way back. We're talking about over 100 years. If I were the board of trustees, if I were the president, I would literally have a press conference and reach out to, not only with this press conference, I would basically argue about not receiving, the funding from the insurance claims, because I'm telling you that's what the problem is. I'm telling you, this school was completely, basically demolished by this hurricane. Probably they had barely even finished the repairs from the first hurricane, and by the time the second hurricane came through, it just put them back further. So I'm just telling you, because I'm going off of what we experienced when the condominiums were messed up and what all we went through. So I'm just here I'm talking about 3 condos, whereas they're talking about an entire university. So I can just imagine what they're going through. I would have been did a press conference. I would have been brought the news reporters in there to talk about the issues of the insurance companies. Put the iron to the fire, make these insurance companies pay, and then explain how bad the conditions are and that they need to go ahead and rectify the situation and get something habitable for these kids. And so that even the faculty can be able to teach, because they're even saying that a lot of the classrooms didn't even have air conditioning. So it's pretty bad. So let's continue on with the article. Reed revealed on Saturday the 21st he would not be appointed head coach at Bethune more than 25 days after he was named to the position. In a statement, the school stated that they and Reed couldn't agree on his contract. After undergoing a detailed assessment and review of the state of our football program, we have determined that it is our best interest of our university athletics program and football student athletes to reopen the search and identify the next leader of Bethune Cookman Wildcats football, the statement reads. Now, what I am assuming from that is they could not afford that man. Perhaps in the contract, because I'm just thinking, I'm telling you, HBCUs don't have multi-million-dollar contracts for their head coaches. They don't. He may have been able to pull out maybe $1 million a year, maybe 1.5. I highly doubt it because they just don't have the money. Because if they had the money, the school would be repaired. And I'm thinking that once they went over their budget, they realized that the money just wasn't there. Now, that's one side of it. But my thing is, why would you offer him a contract that you could not be able to make good on? So let's continue on with the article. While we appreciate the initial interest in our football program displayed by Mr. Reed during the course of recent weeks, we are also mindful of the qualities and attributes that must be exhibited by our institutional personnel during what have been uniquely challenging times for our campus as we recover from the impact of 2 hurricanes during this past fall semester. And see, that's exactly what I was telling you all. I know that they went through those 2 hurricanes, and I know that they're probably battling with the insurance company to be able to get a claim. And because it is a university and because it is it's a historic university building, they go through a tougher inspection. And whenever they send out the insurance inspectors to be able to look at the damages to the building, it's just different. It's just different. And I know what we went through as a family trying to get repairs to our condos. I can just imagine what they're going through as a university. So I do want to give them that grace on that. However, honestly, I would have just closed the university, and I would have sued the insurance company for the loss of income. I'm thinking of it from a board of trustees position. Here you are, you have thousands of students, and then to every student, I believe the ratio there, I believe they have several hundred faculty. Excuse me, I got tongue tied for a second. And then you would have had displaced employees and displaced students who are all depending on this university. So I can look at it from that standpoint to where, oh my goodness, if we close down, this is the this is the potential blowback that we could get. However, y'all have rats and rodents and insect issues and air issues and mold, and y'all have a lot of problems over there. You have a lot of problems over there. And let's be real, nobody from the board of trustees is staying in any of those buildings. When you all are having your board meeting, I guarantee you the office of the president and the office for the board of trustees meetings are pristine. You don't have these issues. And the president says that he walks the campus daily. He's interacting with the students. He's, trying to give them hope, to let them know that they're trying to get the situations rectified as much as possible. And that's good, because people need to see your face. However, there are several students saying that they have not seen you. The issue is so bad with the funding over there. I don't even think that they have adequate, and this is alleged, okay? Allegedly, they don't even have the funding to adequately protect the students. And what I mean by that is, for example, at my university, we actually had a police station on our campus. We had more than one. Now they probably have, I don't know how many they have. I'm quite sure they have a lot. They actually have their own campus police department. Apparently, allegedly, Bethune Cookman does not have their own campus police department anymore because they can't afford it. So now they're not only having the issues of the building issues, they're having issues of a homelessness issue. So now there are dozens and dozens and dozens of homeless people living on the campus. So while these students are going to school, they basically are being panhandled by people. People are begging them for money and food and things like that. Like, the homeless people are basically living on the campus, okay? So, and we're not talking about homeless students. No, we're talking about homeless people. Grown folks, let's just break it down, are living on the campus. So now that's even an issue. Whew, this is heartbreaking. Okay, so let's continue on with the article. The decision on Reed's future came after a series of excuse me, I got tongue-tied again. Okay. The decision on Reed's future came after a series of expletive-filled videos decrying the conditions of Bethune-Cookman, including his office not being clean. Now, Mr. Reed, okay, we're going to stop for a second. Now, that is true. He was asked and relieved of his services after this video went viral. It basically was a video of him and some of the players doing like community service, cleaning up the school, clean up the office, because from his standpoint, he was just trying to do whatever he could do to work with what he had, and he really didn't have anything to work with. It was little of nothing. So the blowback from that is how he was removed from his position, because he didn't even know that he was being recorded. From my understanding, that is what he's alleging. Okay. So let's go back to the article. The period of Reed being named in principal as Bethune's head coach came with online fanfare and an announcement from the school, but no proper introductory news conference in a January 15th Instagram live video, Reed agreed with former Jackson head coach Deion Sanders about HBCUs and their numerous issues. Because one of the main issues at HBCUs, okay, I'm stopping from the article for a second. One of the main issues from HBCUs is funding. That's a major issue. Now, I am so gratefully thankful that I attended the number one HBCU in the United States. And we have a plethora of some of the most amazing alumni. So, just from donations and sponsorships and my university gets upwards in the millions, just from alumni. So I'm thankful for that, because I don't know how I would feel if I went to homecoming and there was rats going across the set. I mean, I would feel some type of way, but let's just keep going on to the article. Prime, which is Sanders, was not wrong about what he was saying, Reed said. All HBCUs need help because of the people who's running it. Broken mentalities out here. In another Instagram post, Reed captioned it by saying the university was forcing him out and he wasn't withdrawing his name to coach the players. I am not withdrawing my name as the head coach of Bethune Cookman, he wrote. The administration and the AD are forcing me out. Thank you all that supported me and my staff through this process. Good day and God bless. If you saw, he had like a makeshift press conference on his Instagram, where he was standing behind a podium. If you guys didn't see that, go ahead and go over to his Instagram. It is EDREEDHOF20. So that's Ed Reed, HOF meaning Hall of Fame 20. Okay, back to the article. Students in the on-campus protests are hoping their demands for better conditions to be met. Last October, the school was closed due to damage from Hurricane Ian and is said to be still reeling from the storm's effects. So that's the end of the article. Like I said, they got hit by those storms. I told it, how in the world could I forget about Ian? Oh, goodness. Ian was the last one. Like I said, if you attended school in Florida or if you visited Florida on a regular, or if you live in Florida, the weather in Florida is extremely fickle and hurricane season is nothing to play with. I mean, it's pretty terrifying. So, yeah. Like I said, we visited Daytona a lot growing up. My parents own property there in Daytona, and on my father's side, his siblings and his mother attended Bethune Cookman, so we were there a lot. We went to games there a lot. So, into events there. So I'm very familiar with the campus, and I just hate that they're going through this. This is very, very sad. So what I'm asking you all to do, is first say a prayer for the university and for those students. Also, I'm asking that you all pray that there is some type of agreement that can come about when it comes to Ed Reed and BCU. I feel like the board of trustees and the president have a lot of pride going on. It was kind of like one of those situations where that it was showed that their slip was showing. It's one thing when the students are protesting, but when there's a video actually of the head coach of the football team and they're trying to reinvent the wheel over there, I think that they were just really embarrassed. And I get that. But you have to be real with yourself. And I'm speaking to the board right now, the BOT. You all have to be real with yourselves. You all have a major problem over there. And to be quite honest with you, Ed Reed could have been able to help with a lot of the problem. Do you know how many Hall of Famers this man knows? How many Pro Bowlers this man knows? This man could have been able to bring in so much funding for you all. So much funding for you all. You not thinking. Because your pride in the way. I'm going to find out what is a good because I'm telling you right now, I'm just gonna tell you for myself, this is to the people who are a part of this platform and then the people who are gonna watch the playback. I don't trust directly sending money to them. So I'm just gonna be honest. However, I believe that I have a friend who attended there and she has a nonprofit and she may know of maybe boosters or an alumni program that she knows that the funding will go where it needs to go, is what I'm saying. When I find out that information, I will be sure to add it to the link in the chat so that if anyone that's watching this, even if it's years from now, months from now, weeks from now, can be able to help this university because they need help. HBCUs need help. They need help. They need help. Even with my university, yes, alumni do give a lot of money. They do, but it's still not enough because we don't get the type of money that these other schools are getting. We don't get the kind of money that LSU is getting. We don't get the kind of money that Georgetown is getting. We don't get the kind of money that Harvard is getting. We don't get that kind of money. So I'm telling you all, as a community, we got to stick together. And I don't want to see another one of our universities go down. I don't want this to be another Morris Brown situation. I do not. So let's all band together and pray that there is a better outcome to this situation and that they are able to go ahead and get their settlement from the insurance company and they can start getting the repairs done to that university. Like, my goodness, this is so wrong on so many levels. And pray for the egos of the board of trustees so that they can humble themselves and know when a good thing falls into their lap. And to me, head coach Ed Reed was a good thing. He was a good thing. He's an amazing thing. And he would have been the person that could be able to turn that university around and get a lot of funding in. So this is Mimosa, and these are my chronicles. And I'm done. So I hope you all have an amazing day. I am going to come back on and talk about you know who in the update with the court case because there was court yesterday. So I'm going to come back on and talk about that. Don't know what time, but I'll be back on. Until next time, everyone, thank you so much for watching. And I hope you all have an amazing, amazing, amazing Friday. All right, until next time, this is Mimosa.